Hello and welcome to our first AMA on cases and solutions. We're going to go over this today, a couple slides on why we're using these new tools and how we're rolling them out, and then we'll get into the platform and I'll show you a couple of the fields and kind of how we want them to be completed so it's beneficial to all. So I apologize to anyone before we start that had to listen to the first recording that had the double audio. That was absolutely atrocious. So hopefully this one works out a little bit better. With that said, let's go ahead and kick this off. So the goal of this is going to be implementing the cases and solutions sections of Salesforce.com. But you're probably asking yourself why. It was working just fine the way it was going before, and while that's true, we weren't getting the information we needed. We weren't being able to track and trend. So that's kind of why we're rolling this out now. Right? We're going to track the issues. We're going to have metrics on the trouble areas in the spirit of making it better for all of you. All right? So before we start, we're going to need a little bit of knowledge around what a case is, and I like to start with the definition. The Salesforce definition of case is a description of a user's feedback, problem, or question. For Securitas' needs, we're really only going to be focusing on the problem/issue part of this description. We want to track where you're having problems and issues. If you have feedback or a question, Chatter is still a great place for that. And there's also a object called ideas that we're not utilizing. You're more than welcome to start. If you want to see how that is, we can maybe make that for the next AMA. Okay? Why case management? We want to collect statistics, we want to see trends, and we would like to have automation opportunities. And what that means is through the statistics and through the trends that we're seeing on why cases are being generated could open doors and open eyes to possible opportunities to automate processes that are resulting in a problem or an issue. So to me, that's the number one. I'd love to automate more of the everyday, the admin side of things so that we can all spend more time on the revenue generating, customer-centric, all the reasons we're supposed to be in the job in the first place, not the key in data. All right, so let's take a review of some cases, right? This is what we're going to go through once we close the slide deck and what you can expect to see when we do a live demo here in a minute. How did we create the case? What do I need to include in my case? So we'll go through line by line in the fields, and there's not many, so this is going to be pretty quick. The hows and the whys behind changing the owner of a case. So when you create a case and it's not in the right ownership, it should never be in your ownership. You don't want to own your own case because you can't resolve your own problems, or you wouldn't have needed to create a case in the first place. So we'll get into that. And then how do you close a case? And this is going to be more on the BDA, BDC side of the house or myself when we close them out with a viable solution. All right. So we'll close this out in a minute here. We'll have a look and do all these things that we just talked about. And if there's any questions on the slide, please post them to Chatter. I'll put this in the how-to group, and then we can create some dialogue underneath that. And generally, I'd have some live people on the call, but because this one was recorded and only had one attendee, we didn't have questions, so we're not missing out there. Again, Chatter is going to be a great place for this. So let's go ahead and jump into the platform here. So this is the landing page. Let me maybe make this a little bigger for everyone. Maybe that's easier to see. I've got, in this little drop-down arrow here, cases and solutions, I've added those to my UI, my user interface, my tab view, if you will. I have probably a lot more than other people might have, might not have. That's irrelevant. If you want these cases and solutions to be across the top of your panel, all you have to do is click into this plus tab here. It goes to the all tabs. You could customize your tabs here with this button, and then you can select what you see across the top, or when you need them, you can just come down in here and click in cases as needed. I don't think we're going to have a lot of frequent use on cases, but we still need to implement this new process. Okay? So that's the easy one. Also, we talked about how to create on the home screen. A lot of you don't have this side panel out when I help you guys out and see it. It doesn't appear to be used that much, but you can create a new case right from that drop down. Or, as we'll see here, I've got the cases open. This is the landing screen, and there's a new button just like any other object that you could start from. Okay, so this is the landing page for when you click on the cases object link, and you can see it looks just like if you were to click into your accounts or your opportunities. It's going to show your recent items at the top and possible reports and tools in the bottom. That's more for administration. And as always, there'll be this view that you can see your cases, your open cases, etc. here. We could create new views as well as if any other object we would need. Okay, so let's go ahead and just create new, and we'll talk about these fields. The contact name and the account name are irrelevant. Really focus here on the red coded fields. Those are the mandatory fields. These would be cases if we were working at a help desk with a certain account or a certain contact that I can't take this off the screen, and that's what it's for. So again, we can ignore that. The region is super critical. If you don't see your region or division associated here, just use shared services, and in a minute you'll see assign using the active assignment rules will land that in my ownership, and I'll resolve that case for you. But do pick your actual region. Currency is irrelevant, really. If Mexico wants to use the cases as well, they're more than welcome to, and they could click this, but it really has no bearing, but it is a required field out of the system. Okay, down here we've got status. These should always be new. The case owner can push them through into different statuses. The case origin, if you're creating this off of Salesforce, which in most cases you're going to be doing unless you call it in and someone else creates it for you, just use Salesforce as the option of where you started it. If you emailed it in and someone created it for you, if you phoned it in, if you're on the run because it doesn't work at all, we could do phone. Okay, priority, you choose how bad your backside is on fire. The type, generally they're going to be problems. We can extend and add here, I believe, and if we need to and have suggestions, drop them on the question and answer section of Chatter where I drop this file. And the case reason, again, if we need to add more here, that's fine, but new problem generally would be, I think, the crutch, the go-to option there. Okay? Then we've got subject and description. Here I like to look at it just like I train on activity. The subject should be a title of like a newspaper article. So give a subject that will create that clickbait, so to speak, if we're online. Something that will give an idea of what the problem is, but not go into the depths of all the detail. And then in the description box, this could be your who, what, why, when and where, how, etc. What's the real problem, and maybe some steps on how to recreate it or what you were doing that resulted in the problem. And I talked just briefly about it, but you want to always check this assign using active assignment rules checkbox so that it routes to the proper BDA, BDC, or myself to resolve your case. And then it's just save from there and you're done. Okay? If we go on to the Solutions tab, it looks much like the other tabs, Case tab, right? You can search up in the top if you're having problems before you create a case to see if there's already a solution in play for your issue. You can see that there will be categorized, and right now I think all we have is uncategorized. We can start to utilize that so it's easy to find solutions. And here's the recent solutions, just like you would see your recent accounts, and then the reports and tools, again, generally for the admins. So let's just take a look at one of these, and we'll see how it rolls out. So we've got a solution number, a status. This is reviewed. That means that it is good to go. It'll be in draft if it's not right. Reviewed means that, yeah, someone looked at it and it's pretty much a legit solution to this problem. We create that it's public and that it's visible in our knowledge base so that everyone can see things. And here was the solution title, right? The iPad was not allowing a connection. The login status shows invalid password. It's a pretty good title, pretty good subject, probably the subject from the case. And then the solution details includes how to fix it. And the only fix here was they needed to include the NA20 server address in front of the URL. So if you look up here on my URL address bar, you can see the NA20 was there. Originally, that wasn't there, so it was just the salesforce.com, and it couldn't find the user. It couldn't map to the org that we're on, to our Securitas org. Okay? You can see some history in the cases that the solution solved. This you won't need to spend much time on, so we'll skip this one back. Let's go back to the cases real quick, and I'll show you the how and why of changing the account ownership. It's just case ownership, rather. It's just like any other record. So I'm going to go into cases. This is an open case. We can see it was created here, and the current owner is Gina, and she's the BDA BDC for the Central Atlantic team. If this was no good and she needed to change it to me because she couldn't handle it, all you do is click change, put in the name. In this case, we'll pick my name. And you can send an email notification so that they can't ignore it and hit save, and you're off and running and you're no longer the owner. The why behind this, I think, more than anything else would be forgetting to click that auto assignment box. If I hit edit here, again, the assignment rule button, if you do save, it'll go to whatever region BDC is dedicated to handle cases for the region. But if you forgot to do it, you could just simply hit change. You could hit edit the record if it's still under your name and check the box and hit save and it will reroute. Or you can hit change and send it to me if you know no one else is going to be able to help you on it. All right? So thanks for your time. Hopefully this recording came out a little bit better, and we'll catch you next month.